Good morning, all of you. Welcome to Earth Angel channel for Divine Masculine. Today we're going to discuss discerning God's will. So, how we are going to discern or come to the conclusion that whatever we are undergoing is God's will, or it is the will of God. There is a multifaceted way in which the term will functions in biblical expressions. The plan of God, decrees of God, the dispositions or the attitudes of God, and other nuances. All these things occur in a it functions in a particular manner which is typically biblical. Now, St. Augustine remarked once that in some sense God wills everything that happens. To question this, we must ask ourselves, in what sense? And how does God will or wish the presence of evil and sufferings? Is He the immediate cause of evil and suffering? Does He do evil? God forbid. Yet evil is a part of His creation. If He is sovereign over the whole of His creation, we must face the conundrum: how is evil related to the divine will? So here is a big question, and we will try to reach out to the answer as nearest as possible to its proximity. The distinctions include that of fine distinctions, the fine differentiations, technical differentiations made by the theologians with respect to God. Okay. Elaboration on such distinctions could be as such. There are three types of wills, we can say. One is decretive will, one is permissive will, and the other is preceptive will of God. Now we will first discuss the decretive will of God. Decretive is the word which originates from decree. Okay, so God decrees His will, and such will is also known as decretive will of God. The sovereign efficacious will by which God brings to pass whatever He pleases by His divine decree is known as decretive will. That is the basic definition of it. For example, when God said, "Let there be light," He issued a divine imperative also. He exercised His sovereign efficacious will in His work of creation. So, it's apparent by the sheer necessity of consequence, the decretive will can have no other effect, no other consequence than what God sovereignly commands. It is evident in this, outcome. For example, it was a matter of authority and power vainly sought by the kingdom of Siam when he said to Anna, to no avail. So let it be said, so let it be done. No creatures enjoy this power of will. No man's will is so efficacious. Men issue decrees and then hope they will bring about their desired effects. God alone can decree with the necessity of consequence. Definition of decretive according to Collins Dictionary. Let us check it out. Having the force of a decree pertaining to a decree. So, all the while we had been discussing about different types of free wills that God has given a long rope to us for. We have discussed other types of free will, that is determinism, indeterminism, and so on. all these discussions show that we vainly attempt the decree of our own will. We cannot do so because we are ultimately governed by the will of God. Then we come to the second definition, that is preceptive will of God. The revealed commandments of God's published law is this one, which is called preceptive will of God. This is its definition. When God commands us not to steal, for example, this decree does not bear immediate consequence. When it was not possible for the light to refuse to shine in creation, it is possible for us to refuse to obey this command. In other words, if we want to steal, it would be a doomsday, which is impossible to happen. The preceptive will of God is not divergent from His decretive will at all. We may have power to disobey the precept, but do not have the power to disobey or annul it with disregard. We cannot annul it. It will and will happen because it is the will of God. His law remains intact whether we obey it or disobey it, and it can't be ultimately frustrated. There will come a fine time when no one will steal, and the sinner in hell will be forcibly restrained from stealing. The saint in heaven, in the glorified state of perfected sanctification, will be totally declined to theft. His law exists as surely as the light by which we read it. Yet, acute difference between the light's obedience to God's creative decree and our disobedience to God's moral preceptive decree is conspicuous in our attitudes in this world. How do we account for this? This could be done by appealing to a distinction between the sovereign will of God and His permissive will or permission. The permissive will of God is the distinction between the sovereign will of God, and the permissive will of God is fraught with peril and generates precarious confusions also. So, in ordinary language, the term permission suggests some sort of positive sanction. And this positive sanction, that is the permissive will of God, we will discuss in the next session of ours. And with this, I extend my heartiest prayers to everyone far and near, those who are hearing, those who are not hearing, and to everyone else. Amen.